Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my Dorney Park recreation. Last time we built out Meteor, the swingy inverty thing over here by Hydra, and finished out the rest of the kiddie rides in the Planet Snoopy area. I also spent a bit of time off camera building a couple more buildings, tweaking a few things, doing some cleanup. I mentioned at the end of the last episode I wasn't totally happy with the way the Midway was over here, so I reprofiled this area over here, finished up the buildings, well, redid some of the buildings. There's still some work needs to be done over here to do some extra cleanup and details and stuff like that, but almost done with Planet Snoopy, I think, which is pretty exciting. I'm going to continue to do more of this kind of off-screen detailing and stuff, as I've mentioned before, just to get that out of the way. Don't have to worry about doing it during the episodes themselves, but I do want to, spend time making things look nicer when I can. For today's episode, I want to start heading towards the entrance for real. We have some placeholders in here for a couple flats and buildings that are necessary here for the main Midway. I think it'll be nice to get some of this stuff built out and kind of tie the entrance over here to Planet Snoopy. I think build the entrance here pretty soon. I think that would be nice. The park looks pretty weird without a main Midway, without that carousel. So I think I'm going to start by building the wave swinger, which is supposed to be over here at the end of the Midway in this general area. The orientation of things over here is a bit strange because Wild Mouse is not pointing exactly the correct direction. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to put here in this big green space, probably just some trees and stuff. Maybe I'll make up some buildings, I don't know. But wave swinger is going to go here. Should be a pretty simple ride. Built a couple wave swingers in the past. There was one in my Cedar Point Park. And for non-custom scenery parks, there's kind of a standardized wave swinger design that I see a lot of different people use. So we're just going to be doing that today. Should be pretty straightforward. Alright, here's our wave swinger design. Again, pretty standard design, I think, for a lot of NCSO. We got a spiral slide in the middle and a broken down Enterprise for the topper, which does make a pretty effective looking wave swinger. You could get pretty crazy with some of the decorations on the outside if you really wanted to. I might tweak that later, but I wanted just to get the base down here just to make sure everything looked okay. Also playing around a little bit with some curved fences. I know I said earlier I wanted to do that with some of the other shoestring rides elsewhere in the park. There's not a ton of space for those because they're, 3x3, 4x4 rides, and they're crammed around the outside with other things, so it's hard to put curved fences in here. But this is a case where I feel like we've got plenty of room. Since this is the main Midway, there's lots of tarmac around, so we can have some curved fences and then some regular footpath curbs as well. Kind of mix and match those. Works okay. Some of the coloration is a little bit weird, and I have to finish like proxy pathing over here as well, and playing around with the bushes and things. It's going to continue to look nicer the more we play around with different path styles and continue to flesh out the Midway here. Just get more stuff in here to make this area look a little bit more lively. Next up on my list for today, coming down the Midway, we've got the Troika ride here called Kaleidoscope. I have a little placeholder set up here. I built a very similar ride over in Cedar Point before. Theirs is just called Troika. That's the name of the model. I'm not a huge fan of the way these look. Just the restraints you have with RCT, doing them with shoestringing, it's really hard to get them to look good. So I want to try a slightly different approach with this one. Take a little bit of creative liberty. It's basically a scrambler ride with more cars in it, and it pivots up and down a little bit. It has 3 arms on it like a scrambler, but I want to see if I can make it look a little bit better by putting 4 arms on it, so it's a little bit more symmetric, fits the grid a little bit better. Maybe it will look a little bit less ugly than the one I built in Cedar Point. So I'm gonna give that a shot and see how it goes. Okay, here's what I wound up with for Kaleidoscope. Kind of went crazy a little bit with the architecture decorations for the four arms, but it's a little janky with some of these little ones here, but honestly, I don't hate it. It's kind of like I said with Wild Mouse, you just throw some things at it, make it look busy, and at a glance, that makes it look interesting. And looking interesting, you know, helps make things look good, I guess. Not always the best strategy, but you know, sometimes it works out. Might play around with some of the supports a little bit more later, but I think this is going to do it for now. It's very tedious to manually copy and paste all these pieces by hand over and over again, so I'm going to just let this one go for the time being. So for the rest of our time today, I think I want to work a little bit more on the Midway here, tie some more stuff together, and build the Coasters Drive-In, the big restaurant building thing that is right here. Will get us nicely towards the front of the park, where the path here runs into Planet Snoopy, and then it'll get us nicely towards building the carousel and the entrance probably next time. I think this will take up the rest of the episode, just flesh out some buildings, maybe do a little bit more detailing on the Midway here. This is where we're going to leave it for today. Adding in this building here, the little drive-in is really starting to tie things together. Also, it's proving to be a very popular spot. It's super crowded over here, I guess, because there's like nowhere else to get food for peeps. There's only a couple other restaurants in the park so far, so I guess everyone is headed for Coasters Drive-In. But yeah, like I said, I think adding in this stuff here to tie this area together is really helping out making this look like a cohesive park, which is super cool. Still a blank area in here that I'm not really sure what to do with. I'm probably just going to fill this with trees. I'm not 100% sure yet. Might put in some little buildings here. There might be some Midway games here. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look at some footage. The Google Street View is also super old, so it's impossible to use right now to figure out what's supposed to go there. But anyway, yeah, really happy with the way the Midway is starting to shape up. Obviously, we've only got one half of it done. There's a whole bunch of other stuff on the other half, closer to Talon over here, plus the carousel and the entrance. So we'll get to those pretty soon, I think. But yeah, really starting to shape up the park, so I'm pretty happy. Things are looking good. But anyway, as I said, that's where we're going to leave it for today. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.